Hey everyone, by now you know I'm a proud new member of Team Discraft. I'm excited for this next chapter in my career. With a new team comes new challenges. Now let me give you a first-hand look at what it takes in building my new bag. When looking for drivers, I need comfort and confidence. Whether it's a wide open par 4 or a 350-foot shot through the woods, drivers are the key to getting clean off the tee. Let's start with the distance drivers. First distance driver I have in my bag is the Z Force. I have a regular one here and then an Austin Turner Z Force. They tend to fly a little bit different, but a really nice overstable distance driver. This is what I'm throwing for my max distance right now. And I also have the Force in ESP, the new swirly ESP. These are a little bit flatter. I like them a lot for the forehands, very controllable. I'm really digging the Force in the ESP and Z. The next distance driver I'm trying out is the Glow Crank. Not as overstable as the Force, but it goes just as far, if not further. Get a nice clean flight out of this. It's one that's not in my bag yet, but I'm still working on it, the Glow Crank. Now, the big distance driver, the Nuke. Got the ESP and the Titanium. These, they go far, very touchy, but something I'm still learning. I think I can get a little bit more distance out of them, but we'll see if these make my bag, whether it's the Titanium or ESP. The Nuke OS. This is probably one of the most overstable discs I've ever thrown. I haven't experimented with it a whole lot, but I see a lot of players throw it, whether it's a thumber, overhand, forehand, and just really overstable shots. Might need this in Kansas, who knows? But the Nuke OS, definitely an overstable driver, very fast. And now let's see, the Punisher. This I heard is kind of like a beat-in Force, a little bit more understable, a little bit more glide. I haven't experimented with it a whole lot, but feels really good for a forehand. So this is one that I'll be trying out a lot more before the season starts. Now we're getting into the Fairway Drivers. The Vulture, again, an Austin Turner Vulture. Got the Swirly Glow ESP and the Z. A little bit bigger disc than the rest of the drivers. Trying to get that comfort down, but a slightly overstable fairway driver, which we'll see if it makes the bag. Next, let's go with the Heat. Very understable. I'm throwing this one more for rollers. I have one in ESP and Z. Trying to figure out which plastic I prefer more, but this is a really good roller disc or a very good beginner disc, lots of glide, and actually surprisingly fast for a small rim driver. And then next, the Mantis. I have it in Big Z and Z. This one I solely put in here because MJ throws it. I want to experiment with it. I've seen him throw some incredible shots. So the Mantis, another disc I'm going to experiment a lot with. But from seeing the numbers, it looks like this one will be making the bag. Next, the Overstable Predator. This one I'm liking, just ripping on it really hard, letting it have that overstable flight. Can actually get a nice flex shot out of it and get some distance as well. So the Z-Pred, this is a great one so far. And we got the Undertaker. Got the Titanium Undertaker and I believe this is a Big Z. But these are incredible. This is probably the straightest disc I've ever thrown. This Titanium one I can rip really hard, get it to get up flat, and then still have a little soft finish at the end if I want, or I can go with the Z or Big Z and get it to finish a little bit more to the right with the same flight. So the Undertaker is one I'm really liking. This one I can tell you right now is already in my bag. And the last one, the Zombie. This is a very surprising disc. I don't know if I have a use for it yet, but it really just flies like a longer buzz. If you want like a fairway driver style flight, but with a little bit more distance than a buzz, this is one that I would say check out. I don't think it's too popular, but it's got a really nice flight. And that is all the drivers right now that I'm trying out to put in my bag. Now that you've seen the drivers that I'm testing, let's go see how they fly. All right, let's get into it. I'm gonna start with the distance drivers. I have 2 Z Forces and 2 ESP Forces. I'm gonna throw 2 forehand, 2 backhand. I got 2 Z Forces. So one is the Austin Turner, and one is just a regular Z-Force. So far throwing them, I believe the Z-Force is a little bit more overstable. It'll start out hyzer and hold that to where the Austin Turner one is going to get up a little flatter, fly a little straighter, but still have that hard finish. The ESP ones I'm really liking for forehand. The flat feel, they seem to just go forever, and I will show you that here in a second. Let's start with the stock Z-Force. Just throw it out on a little hyzer line. We got a tailwind today. It's been going up and down, so I'll try to keep this low. Just holds that true hyzer the whole way in this tailwind. And let's go with the Austin Turner. This I foreseeing kind of getting a little bit flatter, but still getting that same carry. Yeah, you can see it kind of gets a little bit to the flat flight, but continues out going straight with the overstable finish. And now these ESP I'm really liking for a forehand. This one tends to be a little straighter. I've done this one a little bit more, but I think as they beat in, they'll have a straighter flight, but they still have that overstable finish at the end. Got a nice little Annie there with the tailwind. I like that one. Finish straight and nice. This one's a little newer. We'll probably have a little harder finish to the right. Yeah, you can see the stability right there in a new one. Really digging those. All four of those are in my bag right now already. Let's move to the other distance drivers I have. Let's go with the Glow Crank and the Z Punisher. These are a little bit more understable than the Forces. This one I think goes just as far, if not further. I'm gonna get to that one next. I'm gonna start with the same hyzer that I just had on those Forces. Yeah, you can see that thing get to flat and just ride straight. I've noticed the Glow Crank is a little bit more overstable than the other plastics, so if you're looking at cranks, that's the most overstable one I've thrown. The other one's got a little bit more turn to them. And this I heard is like a beat-in force or a beat-in crank. So I'm gonna put a little bit more hyzer on this so it doesn't turn over too much and we can see the flight. Little low, but still you saw how it got up flat really quick. Didn't get to see it finish to the right, but comfortable feel. Now we'll get to the big distance drivers, the widest rim I think they make. We got the Nuke and the Nuke OS. So titanium, ESP, and the Nuke OS. One thing I've noticed with Discraft is their plastics, or their plastic is different in each disc. So I think the ESP will be the most understable. The titanium tends to be more overstable than the Z and the ESP and other plastics, and then the Nuke OS is just gonna be overstable in any plastic. So start with the most understable. But I'm gonna throw it again like the Force on that little hyzer. I think this will flip up flat, maybe get a little S, and probably be the longest flying disc I've thrown. Yeah, you can just see how fast that is as soon as I let it go. Really good flight. That one went way past Michael out there. But yeah, that one was probably close to 500. Now this one I'm anticipating it. I haven't thrown the titanium Nuke yet, but I'm anticipating it to be a little bit more overstable than that, less glide. So we'll see how it flies. Tried to throw it a little flatter than the ESP so I can see the full flight. Again, very fast. Got to the point really quick, but not as comfortable as the ESP in the hand. It was a little flatter, but if you like the flat distance drivers, check out the titanium rather than the ESP. And now we got the Nuke OS. I'll try it backhand. These things are just so overstable. I'm gonna try a little flex line and see how it flies. Got it to go over, but you can see it fighting out of that so fast. That's gonna be a really good disc in the wind. I don't know if they have a overstable driver that's that overstable besides that one. So Nuke OS will probably be one of those discs that comes in and out of my bag. Now some Fairway Drivers. Got the the 3 Overstable Fairway Drivers. Got the Z Predator, a Z Vulture, and a Austin Turner Swirly Glow ESP Vulture. I've thrown these a bit. They're a little bit bigger than the rest of the Fairway Drivers. It's taking a little bit more time to get comfortable with, but we'll throw the Vultures first. The ESP will kind of flip up flat and just kind of ride that a little bit before finishing left. I don't know about the Z, but I believe it's a little bit more overstable. Again, we'll go with that slight hyzer line. Holding that overstable finish right there, probably this little tailwind. Normally I'd expect that thing to get up flat, but should have brought the tailwind into play. This one I'll throw a little flatter. Maybe we'll get the full true flight out of it. Yeah, that's what I was expecting right there out of the last one. A straight flight the whole way, and then a hard finish at the end. Really nice flying disc. I just gotta get comfortable to the little bit bigger mold. And then another one, it's in that bigger family, the Predator. Very similar fill to the Vulture. If you like the Vulture, but you want a little bit more overstability, check out the Predator. This one, I'm gonna throw on a little flex line, just like that Nuke OS. And it'll probably have a similar flight, just 100 feet shorter or so. Well, it's more overstable. Didn't get as much flex on it as I would have liked, but you can see the stability right there and just wanted to go left. And now to the drivers that I don't know too much about. The Mantis. This one, I've seen MJ throw it a lot. He likes it a lot in the woods. I think they're very straight. We're gonna find out right here in a second. But the Big Z, I know the Big Z is more understable plastic than any other plastic that they've made. So the Z is probably gonna be the overstable version. This will be maybe a little bit more turn if it is understable. I'm gonna just throw them out there with a little hyzer and see what the flight characteristics are. And yeah, let's start with the Big Z here. Very straight. Very straight. Kind of flew like the Vulture, but with a straighter flight, straighter finish. And then this Z, I expect to be a little bit more overstable than that. Tailwinds calm down a little bit, so let's see. Yeah, more overstable. Those look like they went really far. Hard to tell with this little uphill, but Michael had to spin, so those went almost as far as the distance drivers. So the Mantis, I need to throw that one a lot more. I need to find out how that really flies, because that was a nice overstable flight. Next, let's go with the Vultures. Got the TI Vulture. I've thrown this one a lot, really like it. I can throw it hard and it'll fly just straight. I think this is the Z or Big Z. Feels a lot like the Big Z, so it's gonna be understable. I'll throw it out with a little hyzer, and this one will probably finish to the right. Hard to tell with this tailwind, but we'll find out. The TI Undertaker, I expect to finish left. This one I expect to finish right. Same flight though. It's just so straight, and it's got the finish at the end. I think that disc is gonna be a real big staple to my bag. Really comfortable in the hand too, really comfortable. This one I expect the same, but maybe just a little bit more finish to the right. This tailwind, yeah, probably gonna be really straight. Yeah, there's that little finish to the right, and the tailwind's gonna bring it out of that hard, but that one is, that Undertaker I'm really liking. Really liking the Undertaker. One of the straightest discs I've ever thrown. Now to the two discs that are the most utility that I've seen. We got the ESP Heat. I'm gonna throw a roller here because that's what this will be for me. So let's get a nice roller right here. Got on a really hard angle, kind of see where it finishes, but it's probably standing up right now and going further than any drive that I've thrown today. Yeah, that's great roller. ESP, if I need a little bit more stability, I'll go with the Z. But those heats are, they're a lot of fun to throw. Very good beginner disc. I'd highly recommend it, really comfortable. And then now the Zombie. It's a different feeling driver. Kind of feels like a mix between a mid-range and a fairway driver. And when I've thrown it, it's flown like a buzz, just really straight, but with a little bit more distance. So let's see with this little bit of wind. It's kind of shifting left to right now. We'll see what it does. Yeah, just kind of hung out in that wind, but just as soon as it got over, it just went that direction. Just kind of kept going straight towards that tree out there, a little bit to the right. But it's pretty fast. It's hard to say. It's like a fast mid-range or a slow fairway driver, but it's got a really true flight. Wind just kind of took it there. But the Zombie, if you want to try a utility disc, check that out. And that's all the drivers that I'm testing out right now. So these are some of the drivers that I've been testing out this winter. Some have already made my bag, some I threw for the first time today. What do you recommend? Let me know in the comments down below, and stay tuned for the next video in the series where we cover mid-ranges.